On Tech News Today, Google unveils a Twitch killer on YouTube. Spotify unveils a kind of time travel. And we'll tell you about the surprising Silicon Valley company that's reinventing the data center. It's all coming up next on Tech News Today.
This is Twit.
Bandwidth for Tech News Today is provided by CacheFly at CacheFly.com.
This is Tech News Today for Monday, June 15th, 2015. This episode is brought to you by Braintree. If you're working on a mobile app and searching for a simple payment solution, check out Braintree. With one simple integration, you can offer your customers every way to pay. To learn more and for your first $50,000 in transactions fee-free, go to BraintreePayments.com/TNT. Tech News Today is the show where we talk about the tech news with the journalists who report it. Welcome to the show. I'm Mike Elgin, and our co-anchor today is CNET Editor-in-Chief Lindsay Turrentine. Welcome to you, Lindsay.
Good morning, Mike. It's a beautiful, foggy day in San Francisco.
Yeah.
June.
What else is new? What else is new? So how was your weekend?
It was great. I went to Carmel for the first time, and
nice.
I grew up in Northern California.
Wow,
Weird.
that's incredible. That's incredible.
Yeah.
You know, it's amazing. I recently went to Oregon for the first time. I'd lived in California my whole life and never made it that far north. So I'd done surgical business trips into Seattle before, but never actually crossed or entered the state of Oregon. So what did you think of Carmel?
Those were the most expensive 1,500 square foot houses I've ever seen.
Yeah.
$2 million for tiny bungalows, but it was lovely. It was gorgeous. Point Lobos? Go there. Beautiful.
Yeah. Yes, I've been there. It's really amazing. Wasn't Clint Eastwood the mayor of Carmel at some point?
I think that he was. Yeah, absolutely.
Wonderful. Well, cue the Dirty Harry jokes, etc. Why don't we jump into the news? We've got some really interesting stories today. Google Friday unveiled a new service called YouTube Gaming. As the name suggests, the site is for live streams of games and game commentary, basically Twitch. YouTube Gaming will have about 25,000 pages that are each dedicated to a specific game or to a specific game publisher or to a specific gaming celebrity. Lindsay Turrentine, this was inevitable after Amazon bought Twitch. Google needed a Twitch, and of course YouTube is the place to house it. Do you think this will be successful? Do you think this is the kind of thing that the YouTube community wants?
I do. I think it'll be successful. I think that 25,000 pages is a lot, and they may not all see a lot of activity. But just based on, I base a lot of predictions on my children, but based on how they behave on YouTube, they already basically treat YouTube like this. They go deep on a game, and they just watch video after video after video of that game, and they also follow specific celebrities on YouTube or celebrities to them. So, there's a Minecraft self-created celeb they follow religiously. Mm-hmm. They already do this. Now advertisers can target them better, essentially.
Interesting. You mentioned Minecraft. I was stunned to see this morning that the next issue of the New Yorker magazine has Minecraft on the cover.
It does, and it's a critical cover. I'm just going to talk about this for a second.
Please do.
It's a somewhat critical cover, right? If you haven't seen it, it's two kids, one at I think the name of the cover is Playdate.
Playdate, right.
And they're looking at screens with Minecraft on the screens, and then there's a big window behind them with actual nature on the outside, which they're not engaging with at all. But I have to say, I can criticize a lot of games for being lame and not engaging the minds of children, but Minecraft is not one of them. Yeah. I think that Minecraft is incredibly exciting for kids learning how to deal with spatial things. Anyway.
Yeah, if you think,
I thought it was kind of lame.
Right. If you New Yorker designers and editors think that Minecraft is a bad thing for kids, wait till they start playing Grand Theft Auto. You're going to love that one.
Exactly.
Yeah, so I completely agree with you. And I haven't read the article yet. I'm so glad you're familiar with this whole story because I tend to be obsessed with the New Yorker. I love the magazine. I've been reading it for many, many years. And so it's, they're really good with culture. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they say about Minecraft. And I'll probably mention it again on the show once we figure out what the heck they were talking about. Well,
let's make a play date for that.
Exactly. Let's do that. We can talk to each other on Minecraft. All right. Well, I think I've never played Minecraft. Can you talk to people? Anyway, I think you can. More news in a sec, but first let's talk about mobile payments. Braintree is one of our sponsors today. Braintree is our only sponsor today. And this is a fantastic payment solution. If you are a mobile developer, if you are involved in any sort of project that involves an app or a website that takes money from the public, you have to use Braintree. If you are a manager or work in a company, go to your mobile developers, go to the decision makers, grab them by the lapels, shake them vigorously, and scream into their face, use Braintree because it is so great. We've all used Uber. We've all used sites like Living Social and Munchery. I've used Airbnb extensively, and all of these sites have one thing in common, which is that they use Braintree. They have yet another thing in common, not coincidentally, which is that they are very, very easy to use because they use Braintree. The payments is so simple, and it's so simple for them to implement as well because you can just add simple code in a few minutes and be up and running, and you get all the benefits of Braintree with just a tiny, light bit of code. Braintree is also helping to solve the problem of mobile cart abandonment. Anybody who sells anything or takes money online knows that a huge number of people come and want to buy your product or service. And then at some point during the process, they wander away, either because it's confusing or it's too much work or they don't have the time or whatever. And Braintree will solve that problem because they make it so easy for that payment to be processed, for the whole process to take place in just seconds. And so you're not going to lose people who want to use your product or service. And remember that the API is used by those major companies, Uber, Airbnb, Hotel Tonight, Living Social, and GitHub. And they started using Braintree when they were tiny, tiny little companies. And they grew, and Braintree grew with them, and your company can too. Braintree gives you a full stack payment solution, support for all payment types, anything your customers might want. You can start accepting PayPal, Apple Pay, Bitcoin for crying out loud, Venmo, credit cards, and much more, all with a single integration across all platforms with superior fraud protection, superior customer service, and super fast payouts. To learn more and for your first $50,000 in transactions fee-free, go to braintreepayments.com/TNT. Well, a major Silicon Valley company is transforming how data center hardware works, according to a new feature posted over the weekend by Business Insider's Julie Bort. That company, dun dun dun, is Facebook. Julie joins us now to explain. Welcome to you, Julie.
Hi.
Now,
Thanks for having me on the show.
So Facebook, I've heard of this project before, but I didn't realize it was having such a big impact until I read your feature. Now, first of all, let's start with the basics. What is Facebook's Open Compute Project, or OCP?
Yeah. So, I mean, it sounds sort of like a boring concept. Oh, there's something going on inside data centers. Like, okay, who cares? But what's really, really cool about this project that I've been following for about 4 years is that this is an area where the people who are using the technology have stepped in, are designing the technology, are giving away the designs for free, and are really dictating to the hardware makers. These are multi-billion-dollar companies, HP and Dell and Cisco. They're dictating to these guys what they're going to do. And this has been sort of the promise of open source forever. You know, the most famous open source project is Linux, and it's really changed the world. And now it's going on the hardware side. And it's being done by, of all companies, Facebook. You know, you wouldn't think of these guys as having that kind of influence, but this is one of the things that they're doing behind the scenes to support, you know, every post that you make, every photo you share.
So, Julie, this is called the Open Compute Project, right? And what is actually happening here is that Facebook is opening up the designs of the hardware that lives in its data centers. Can you tell us a little bit more about what that might look like? Is it actually people just out there in the world making suggestions or changes to how these data center computers are designed?
Yeah, so it's everything. I mean, it's the computers, it's the racks that the computers sit on. One of the most amazing thing they're doing is open sourcing and creating a radical new design for the switches. That's the thing that links computers together so they can talk to each other. And so what does it look like? Yeah, so it's Facebook, it's Goldman Sachs, it's Microsoft, it's Apple. These guys all buy computers by the thousands, by the hundreds of thousands. And they have gone in and said, this is what we want our computers to look like. And they're getting together and they're working out difficult hardware problems, and they're doing it all in the open. And everything that they do is given away for free. Now, obviously, you would have to pay for the servers that you buy from these things, but there's contract manufacturers standing by to build these designs, or you can go in and modify it for yourself. And so what's happening now is it's 4 years in, and at first it was really controversial. No one thought whether or not it would work. And, HP just stepped up and said, we're going to support this project wholeheartedly. So it's radically changing the way computers that are sort of running the world are being designed.
It's a surprising initiative, and it sounds like the kind of thing Google would do. What does Google think of Facebook's initiative here?
Yeah, well, so that's interesting. So Google designs a lot of its own hardware, as does Amazon. But both of those companies historically have thought of that as a secret sauce. We're not going to share. If we invent something amazing that makes all of our computers faster, which clearly Google has done, we're not going to share that with anyone. It's our secret sauce. So what Facebook is saying is every time we get one of these amazing inventions, we're going to share it with everyone. And you know what else? People come together, they share things with us. We get a tenfold benefit by making this open. And so Google has, one of the most brilliant people there at Google has said, a begrudging respect for this Facebook Open Compute project. It's really taken off, but has said, it's really not going to have a big impact, and the most important players, like the financial services companies, that kind of thing. So Google sort of respects it and downplays it at the same time.
So this is pretty cool. What is Intel doing here? Are they participating? What's Intel's association?
Yeah, so Intel's association was pretty cool too, because Facebook. So it was like this idea. The guy that was running Facebook's infrastructure project said, why don't we just do this? Can we just not share the designs? Well, the problem is, there's a lot of intellectual property and a lot of legal stuff that goes into just saying, okay, we're going to share the designs. So they went to their partner, Intel, and said, well, we have this idea. Intel stepped up, got their lawyers involved, worked out this entire legal structure so that people can participate without having to worry about sharing things they don't want to share, so if they have something that they really want to keep as a secret sauce and it's associated with this project, it doesn't somehow get swept in and shared. So Intel helped Facebook work out all the legal sort of boundaries of this, and then they signed on as a marquee partner.
Interesting. Now, Facebook, of course, launched this whole thing. It was their initial server designs that they wanted to share, but is there ideas coming back to Facebook that are improving Facebook's data centers from the community that's using OCP?
Yes, I mean that's the whole benefit of this whole kind of open creation. I mean, when you think about it, in a way, when people can sort of collaborate freely, of course, the best ideas aren't always going to come from one company or one team. So when they collaborate openly, that's what happens. The benefit is that Facebook, people out there see some kind of a hardware problem and they can solve it and submit it, and then Facebook gets the benefit of that. Facebook says that in the 3 years since it's implemented the hardware from this project, it has saved, I think I'll have to look up the fact, but I think it said $2 billion. I mean, a significant chunk of change. And now other companies are coming forward and saying that they're saving, huge amounts, like 20% on their energy bills. And, all kinds of savings are coming from everyone, because everybody is able to contribute and everybody is able to get a share of the contribution.
Wonderful. Well, Julie Bort, thank you so much for joining us today. Julie Bort is at businessinsider.com and on Twitter at Julie188. Don't follow Julie's 1 through 187. Only insist on Julie188.
Yeah,
That's right. Thanks again for joining us today, Julie.
Thanks.
All right. Facebook's filtering algorithm prevents the majority of the posts from your Facebook friends and family from ever reaching your news feed. It does this based on a prediction about who you care about and what you want to see. And in the past, this was determined by monitoring your actions, like clicks and comments and likes and shares. But now Facebook will add to the mix how long you stare at a post. So if Facebook is open and you get up to make a sandwich, you and your Facebook friends can expect a lot more of whatever happens to be on your screen. The new capability will roll out over the next few weeks. Lindsay Turntine, do you think this is going to be a good addition to their algorithm? Will this improve the quality of people's news feeds?
I don't know. I have two major questions about it. I don't think we know enough about it yet. The Facebook engineers who wrote the post on Facebook explaining this new change say they give some examples and they say, well, what if you like a couple of things quickly, but then you see a big travel post from a relative and you're really interested in it, and you look at the photo and you read all the comments, but you don't feel inclined to like it. We'll know that you're actually interested in that kind of thing. Fine. But the question is, what's the end of that transaction basically look like? Is Facebook basing your interest on how long you look at it and then move on to the next thing, or just how long that item stays up on your page? Because you could just walk away from your computer.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's it. So I hope and kind of assume that they've thought about that, and that what they're waiting for is for you to scroll down and then look at something else, and then they kind of register, okay, this was sort of a normal long amount of time spent on this particular item. But here's the other question that I have. How much time do you spend looking at posts that are train wrecks?
Yeah.
Right? Like,
Yep.
This is somebody you went to high school with, and typically they post about sandwiches and you're not that interested. But then they post this crazy thing about their divorce proceedings. And you're just kind of like, whoa, that's crazy. I'm glad that's not me. And then you move on and you kind of never want to see it again. I hope that doesn't make all of our feeds less positive.
Yeah. No, who knows what this could do, but they definitely need an improvement in how they do their algorithms, simply because oftentimes the determining factor over whether or not you engage with a post, click like or whatever, depends on who it is that's posting and what it is they're posting. There are many people that I follow on Facebook who I want to see their posts, but I never interact. I never click on anything. I never comment for a variety of reasons. It's just the nature of their posts. But I want to keep getting those, and of course Facebook would never know. They just basically would sever that relationship and say, oh, you don't care about the person, you never click anything, you never click like, you never comment. So maybe this will help in those cases where it'll prevent them from ending a relationship that I have based on non-activity.
A one-sided relationship.
Exactly. So anyway, it's all very weird. And still, the weirdest thing of all, anytime you talk about this, is that the vast majority of Facebook users don't know that their newsfeed is a filtered algorithm, that they're only getting like 12% of everything that family and friends post, and the rest are being sort of censored out, filtered out. So
yeah, it's interesting. I wonder if Facebook will give us a little bit more while they're testing this out. Because if you're already filtered down to 12% based on your clicks and likes, how is Facebook going to know if you're actually kind of interested in some other stuff that you're not seeing? Maybe they'll open it up a little bit more. I hope so.
Yeah, exactly. Well, future Toshiba laptops will get a new key on the top left of their keyboards. It's called the Cortana button, and you guessed it, pressing it will tell Microsoft's Cortana virtual assistant to listen to your voice command. This is pretty cool, Lindsay, and I think it's a safe bet to add a Cortana button because, of course, everything's going to be running Windows 10 and higher, and those versions of the operating system will all have Cortana. So I think it's great, and people have to get in the habit of pressing it, though, but I think that's going to be a good feature.
Sure. Me too. I am a huge fan of voice operation generally, and a very early adopter. So any chance we can I just want more people to be using this because it'll get better the more people who use it. So I'm excited.
Yeah, definitely. Well, Spotify got a new feature called Rewind. The feature figures out your current taste in music by looking at your playlists, and then it tells you what you would have liked if you lived in the past, and it gives you playlists of songs from the 60s and 70s and 80s or whatever, and is really kind of interesting. I mean, this is really a great way for younger people to discover music from the past. There are so many different kinds of music, let's say from the 70s, but somebody who's born in the 80s can basically just say, okay, tell me what I would like, and then it will go back and theoretically show them what they would like. Although I'm hearing, Lindsay Turrentine, that this feature doesn't work that well yet. It's kind of like, doesn't offer that many good suggestions, but hopefully they'll improve it over time.
Well, I haven't used it, but it seems like a smart business move on Spotify's part. I mean, this is like, let's make money off of an even larger library.
Yeah.
I love it. It's recycling.
Exactly. It's environmentally friendly. Well, in Hack Attack news, Chinese hackers have figured out how to expose Chinese users of VPNs, virtual private networks, and Tor, people who use these anonymizing tools to circumvent the Chinese government's censorship and surveillance. The hackers were able to steal the names, addresses, sex, birth dates, email addresses, phone numbers, and even browser cookies of these users, but only if the VPN or Tor users were logged on to one of 15 Chinese internet portals. and these portals, of course, include Baidu and Alibaba, because of an unpatched vulnerability called JSONP or JSONP. The information comes from Jamie Blasco, who is a security researcher at the Silicon Valley security company AlienVault. Lindsay Turrentine, this is horrible. People are using those things to stay anonymous, and I hope that information does not get in the hands of the Chinese government, which would love to crack down on all these people who are circumventing their censorship and surveillance.
Yeah, it sucks. That's right. It's an inelegant comment, but how do you, at this point, if you're not able to be logged into all of these major portals and stay anonymous, those particular Chinese web surfers are just being driven further into the shadows.
Yeah, absolutely. And they need those services too. A lot of people are in, they're researchers or they're journalists or something like that, and they can't do their jobs effectively unless they reach out and communicate and find out information on sites that are banned and so on. So there could be a crackdown, and that crackdown could actually harm China's economy, because so many of the people who make their economy happen rely on VPNs, for example, to find out what's happening in the world. Wow.
Yep, that's rough.
In government crackdown news, we told you last month that Belgium's Privacy Commission published a report slamming Facebook over how the company tracks non-users. Now the commission is dragging Facebook into court. Facebook itself says the complaints are without merit and that most websites use cookies for tracking users, and they're not doing anything special. The hearing starts Thursday in Brussels. And Lindsay Turrentine, of course, this is just part of the ongoing crackdown in Europe against American and specifically Silicon Valley-based tech companies. And I think this is just the beginning.
I think you're right. I think that this is sort of an interesting argument that Facebook's making, that everybody does this. And that's true. Everybody does do this. But it does seem kind of crazy to be doing it with non-users. Yeah. What's the point of tracking a non-user?
Yeah. And of course, you ask why, and Facebook would say, why not?
Sure.
And they would also say, they're only non-users for now. We'll get them eventually. Resistance is futile. Well, in news you could lose, a Michigan school district is using some pretty old but pretty reliable technology to control its heating and cooling system for 19 schools. It's a 30-year-old Commodore Amiga 2000. System uses a 1200 baud modem and a wireless radio to communicate with the schools. The radio even interferes with the walkie-talkies they use on the schools. And the code was connected. The code that they used to connect the system was written by a high school student who's now in his late 40s. The district is trying to raise $2 million to replace it. What a concept, Lindsay Turrentine. It's going to cost them $2 million to replace an Amiga Commodore 2000.
Don't wait too long to replace your technology. That is the lesson here.
That's right. That's right. I say if it ain't broke, don't fix it. If this thing is still managing the heating and cooling, just find somebody to learn how it works so you can repair it and so on. So
I bet a high school student could figure this out in about 20 minutes.
Exactly. They should put their students on it. Well, our TNT fan of the day is Jorad Jameson in Connecticut, who posted this picture on Twitter. He says he listens to Tech News Today while welding. Very cool.
Wow.
Yeah, very
That's
cool.
really cool. How can he hear us? I want to know more about the speakers he's using.
Yeah.
Or the headphones he's using, because that's impressive.
Yeah, exactly.
Welding's not quiet.
Yeah. Let us know, if what is your name? What is your name? Your name is Jorad. Jorad, I know you're listening. Send me an email, tnt@twit.tv, and let us know what headphones you're using. We'd love to know. Well, show us how you watch or listen to TNT. Just record a video or take a picture of yourself or your setup or your welding equipment and post it on Google+, Twitter, or Facebook, and use the hashtag HowIWatchTNT so we can find it. Lindsay Turrentine, what are you doing these days? Are you involved in the coverage of E3?
Yes, we are E3 everywhere all the time this week. Got a lot of people down in LA, and we are working on something really cool from the E3 show floor.
Really?
Wednesday morning.
Really?
Yes, really cool. I can't tell you what it is yet, but it's going to be really cool.
I hope it's not 10 o'clock Wednesday morning. What time?
It'll be on demand.
Okay,
so
great.
It will not conflict.
Okay, great. Great. Well, thank you so much, Lindsay Turrentine, and we will see you next week.
See you next week.
All right, take care. You can subscribe to Tech News Today on Spotify, Deezer, Stitcher, iTunes. Choose your favorite way to subscribe at twit.tv/TNT. And you can also watch us live every weekday at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1700 UTC at live.twit.tv. And if you're ever in Sonoma County, come on in and watch us as part of our studio audience. Just send email to tickets@twit.tv before you come. And if you'd like to help us grow our audience, here's how to do it. Just post a link to twit.tv/TNT on the social media site of your choice, tag 3 friends, and recommend that they subscribe. You can follow us on Twitter or Facebook at Tech News Today TV. On Facebook specifically, that's facebook.com/TechNewsTodayTV. You can subscribe to our subreddit at technewstoday.reddit.com, and you can follow me on all the social networks. You can find them at elgin.com. Don't miss Tech News Tonight at 4 p.m. Pacific tonight and every single weeknight. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the Tech News Today. The show is produced by Jason Cleanthes and technical directed and edited by Anthony Nielsen. My name is Mike Elgin. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you tomorrow.